again here with another layout for you. Christy from Christy's Beautiful Life is back at it again with her 30 Days of Sketches series. I love when she does this because I love sketches, and this time around she's being joined by Daisy and Moira and Crystal and Shannon. So tons of inspiration for you guys every day. There are 30 sketches that they're going to be doing, so one every day for the month of April, and there's a bunch of guests that will be popping in and out as well, so stay tuned for all of that. I will leave all the links down below so you guys can follow along. This is definitely a series that you want to check out because it's 30 days of just phenomenal inspiration. So you saw the sketch that I have for today at the beginning, and what really drew me to this one is just how clean it was. It's a lot of white space. It has a cut file, which is something I don't use that often, and then just that nice little kind of layered photo cluster down in the bottom corner. So when Christy invited me and asked me to pick a couple of the sketches, I instantly went to this one. I remembered that I have this cut file that you see that I cut out in black. I was just cutting a whole bunch of Paige Evans cut files one day. If you don't belong to her Facebook group, you should, because she does a free cut file every month and they're always phenomenal. And so I had just been cutting up a whole bunch of hers, and for whatever reason when I put this one through, I walked away, and so I didn't watch that it had gone in a little bit crooked. So it didn't cut very nice and clean. And I kept it because you can see 99% of it looks really good. So I just kept it, but I was never really motivated to use it. And as soon as I saw the sketch for the 8th, I was reminded of this cut file and thought, okay, this is the motivation I need to find a way to use it and make it look good, despite the fact that it kind of went through the machine a little bit skewed and kind of cut off some of the stars on one side and stuff. So you can see what I'm doing is I'm just going to slightly nudge it over to that bottom right hand corner of the paper, and eventually I'll fix it. You'll see that coming up. So another way that I'm changing the sketch here is that I'm just going to use that one photo. Oh, it was supper time. My husband is a chef, and since we've both been home, he has been making us the most amazing suppers. And because there's no dance or lacrosse or karate or anything like that, we get to sit down and have supper as a family without rushing around every night of the week. It's been awesome. Anyways, back to the layout. So I'm just going to use that one 4x6 photo. That is one of my favorite pictures I have ever taken of Fox. He was in all of his lacrosse stuff, and they had just won their game. They went undefeated for their whole season last year, which was so cool. Anyways, so I wanted to scrap that with the stars in the background. So that's one little change that I made. And so that just kind of changed up how the layers in the background of the picture went, but I stayed pretty close. I only did a couple of layers. I picked papers from the Wild Child collection from Pink Paisley, the more boyish one. So there's a bit of an orange paper, and then there is that kind of multicolored paper in the background as my biggest layer, and then I cut the banner out of that blue striped paper. I didn't want to have colors that were competing with the photo because his face is covered and that makes it a little bit busy. So I thought that those papers were just kind of more subtle in that background but still have some interesting layers to them. And then you can see the clean look of the sketch that really kind of drew me to it when I first saw it. I kind of tossed that out the window. I just really wanted to do some mixed media. So I feel like this mixed media is a little more subtle than I would normally do. And once I put the stars back on top, it just kind of adds a little bit of interest into the background. But it definitely takes away from that clean look that the sketch has. So I could have left it, absolutely I could have left it, but I think the busyness of the stars kind of lent itself to having some busyness in the background, if that makes sense. And if I had just been using one large star, like in the sketch, the kind of clean cut of just one star and then all that clean background, I don't know, I feel like that would have complemented the layout, or it does, you can see it in the sketch. It complements the layout a lot nicer. So I did a little bit of smushing. I did some blue, and the blue is just a Recollections mist, and the red is a Shimmers, and then this is a little Heidi Swapp Citron, I think is what this one is called. I just wanted to get some of that lime green in because I know I want to use a little bit of lime green in my embellishments. So on top of the 6x6 paper pad that I have there from the Wild Child collection, I also have the ephemera, so that is where my little bits of ephemera are coming from. So now I'll just go ahead and glue this down. I kind of just put glue along all of the edges anywhere that those stars stuck out a little bit. I didn't glue down every single star in this whole thing. And then I can go ahead and put, oh, I needed a tape refill. I am running out of adhesive. Yes. It is a quarantine emergency. I've been stocking up at Dollar Tree, but we're trying not to go out too much. So I've only been out a couple of times. My hubby is high risk, so yeah, it's been an interesting adhesive adventure in my house. But yeah, so I went ahead and stuck my photo down. I did put some foam behind the photo, so there is a little bit of dimension to that picture. And then here you can see I added those 3 little tags, and then these 3 little what are those called, divider labels, tabs, there we go, that's the word I was looking for, kind of in those same colors. So I have the blue tag, or sorry, the greenish tag, I have this blue and red little word that says warrior, and then I have that red, it's hard to see on the camera, but it's actually more of a foil in the tag there as well. So my tabs are the green, the blue, and the foil red. And I'm just going to add some stickers here too, because I thought it would be kind of fun to just build up some of those layers. And some stars, because there are definitely stars in the little embellishment clusters in the sketch. So this sticker sheet, again from the Wild Child collection, I got the 3 pieces, the 6x6 paper pad, the sticker sheet, and the ephemera from Peachy Cheap when it popped up. I think the boy one popped up first, and then a couple days later, or maybe a week later, the girl one popped up. So I was able to snag both of those, and I've been using them up lately. But it has tons of stars, so that's what kind of pulled me to it, plus just the fun colors. I also kept a bunch of the stars that came out of the cut file, so I went ahead and put a few of those in each of my little clusters as well. I just like the contrast of that solid black, especially because his sweater is black. It's mostly black, and then there's some black, I think a black jacket hanging in the background, so I just wanted some of those more solid feeling stars. Oh, and I had to pop up this little cluster here because I forgot that I had put foam behind the picture, and so it wasn't quite sitting right. So my solution to kind of fixing that cut file and making it look a little bit more purposeful, like I didn't totally neglect it and it ran through the silhouette wrong. I cut off that border at the top and left hand side of the white cardstock, and now I'm just going to stick the whole thing on some black cardstock. And so there's probably about 1/4 of an inch of a frame around the layout, and the stars kind of look like they're running right into that background, which I think is really cool because this is the same cardstock that I cut the cut file with. So I kind of like that. This is like, again, my own little personal touch, which that's what's so much fun about using sketches, is that you look at that sketch and you pick and pull the things from the sketch that you really like, all the elements, design elements that you really like, and then you let that inspire you to just kind of keep going with it. So my layout doesn't really look anything like the sketch, but I kind of pulled all of the elements from that sketch. So there's stars in there, and there's the picture with kind of a single cluster, and I'm roughly putting the title in the same place where it says title. I turned mine on its side just because the word lacrosse was so long that I didn't think it would look right going horizontally across the paper. And then where there's journaling in the sketch, I kind of have all my little cluster of words. So all the elements are there, but it's got the Jen touch. And I was just showing you there that I had to cut up an 8 to make an S. I have 2 sheets of these little alphas that came from Stampin' Up, and I still didn't have enough S's, so I just cut that 8 and kind of showed you where I made the cuts. It definitely looks like I took an 8 and cut it up, but it's still an S, so I'm going with it. And that is my layout for today. I just want to say thank you so much to Christy for inviting me to play along, and be sure to check out all the links down below so you can see how everyone else used the sketch today, and you can follow along for the rest of the month. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Until next time, happy scrapping. Stay safe. Bye.